morning.
It's your favorite week of the year.
Why is it my favorite?
Because you're Ebenezer Scrooge and you're slowly clenching your jaw and hunching your back and ready to say bah humbug for the next couple of days, aren't you?
You have the floor.
Are you getting ready for Wednesday night when you're visited by 3 ghosts and nothing changes?
I've staved that off for many years.
Yeah.
It's unaffecting to me, ineffective in totality.
They'll come by and they'll show you your past, present, future, and then you'll wake up the next morning and be like, meh, still don't care.
No, they'll be like, you're awesome. Like every ghost is like, dude, like keep doing you.
Be like us. Yeah, they're like, if they'll probably show you, Joe, if you don't change, you'll be like us. And you're like, okay.
Deal.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
You get first crack at it. What's up?
It's really all I got. Came in here.
What?
I came in here ready to tease you, and
your preparation is making fun of me. My
that's really it. It's really all I. Here's a question.
Yeah.
If you want to just dive right in, are the photos on Facebook I'm seeing of the released pictures, are they all fake, or did they actually? Did any Epstein file actually get released? Or are these photos fake? Have you seen any of these?
All right. So, good morning.
Morning. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
There it is.
So basically, the demand for anything that was accessible to the public has now been released with a whole bunch of redactions, things that make the public being able to sift through millions of documents worth of information totally fruitless. Like, we don't know any more than we did before, but I could have wrote in an envelope and told you that after they released all of the paperwork, you wouldn't know any more than you did before.
So, I mean, there's all these photos now I'm seeing on Facebook of like Giselle and Bill Clinton, and
Giselle is a different person.
Yeah, whatever her name is.
Kelin.
Whatever. The lady. And like Bill Clinton and Jeffrey, and they're all like swimming and hanging out. And then there's a little write-up where like Clinton's rep is like, who cares? You can release all the grainy photos you want. It doesn't mean anything. You know, they were friends before they knew anything was going on. And I just don't even know if these pictures are real or not, because you can't trust anything on the internet. And then I have seen some AI videos.
Like, we know no more. Like, really what top of the paper is, did people break the law? Okay. So if you have Bill Clinton in a hot tub with another person, did you think that beforehand that Bill Clinton wasn't a playboy who was in certain situations?
No.
I don't care about that. I care about those who break the law and preyed upon young girls is all I care about. Like, you can make all of the 5 jumps worth of, he was on the log and it was in a hot tub with Ghislaine, so ... Like, I don't believe in the ... at all.
But here's the thing. Do you think only some pictures are being released in order to be their political play?
Yeah, that's all it is.
They're being the right.
But what we care about and what they're presenting are two different things. Like, do you
we want more information.
Okay. Spoiler.
We want
spoiler.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
I know.
We are never going to get what you are hungry for. All it's going to be is a bunch of stuff that feeds into your imagination, and you got to fill in the ... every single time.
But this shows, as if we didn't already know, we knew this, but this shows just how evil they in Washington, in politics on both sides, are. Is they know what we want, they know what's important, they know what they could have told us, and they're just releasing little bits of bullshit against each other in a political play.
So the public, like, come at me. Like, really come at me and I will tell you what's going to happen. I will set your expectations where
Yeah.
they need to be. And I will let you know that when you're in a position of power and things happen around you, you're never going to get a full accounting of what happened. 100%. Because so let's just say I run Joe's Casino, right? And there's a bunch of mafia guys around me that are taking a portion of everything that's bet, right? So now we're like, I think Joe was involved in illicit gambling operation, right? If I had 30 minutes to be able to hide all the evidence that would implicate me in the deal, do you think I would take advantage of it?
To hide it all? Yeah.
How about an hour?
Yeah.
A week?
Yes.
A month?
Yes.
A year?
Yep.
A decade?
Yeah.
So how much time has gone on since people in powerful positions have had the opportunity to be able to hide or remove evidence that implicates me?
A long time.
So one day you'd be like, oh, not enough time to be able to hide all the evidence. A decade, like, there's not anything important that exists anymore.
And that's what we said several weeks ago, where I said, I don't think what everybody is demanding they see even exists.
Right. It doesn't.
It's not even like they're hiding it from us. It's gone.
It's gone. So when they say they're going to release something, what are you hopeful for? If you know on one side of the equation, you know that powerful people can destroy the evidence that implicates them in wrongdoing. And then a decade goes by and you're like, we're going to bring out the evidence. Like, what are you hoping for?
I no longer hope for anything.
No.
I'm just sheer curious. Are the photos real or is it AI? Because you can't believe everything you see on the internet. So this dance
we're going through, like after a decade of people being able to hide everything that implicates them, like somehow something was going to be released that we're going to sink our teeth into. Come on.
Yeah. Again, all it is if these pictures are in fact real, it's being used to make everybody be like, oh, look, it's Democrats involved with them.
Nothing.
And then everyone's like, you just don't have the ones that show Republicans. And once again, it keeps us fighting about the sides instead of what actually occurred. We're just pinning each other against each other again.
Are you ready to be a libertarian yet? Have I convinced
Probably.
you? Okay. So basically anybody who has the ability and power to do wrong things, they're going to do it. They're going to cover their tracks and you're going to never going to know about it. So like your feeling of justice is like, it's never going to be realized because none of the people who you would, point that at are ever going to be revealed ever. So libertarian, here's what we believe. You ready?
Yeah.
No power to them, no control to them, no longevity to them, no special favors for them, no money for them, no ability to them, right?
Yeah.
Neutered completely because here's the deal. Everybody who has a position of power are terrible people.
So the libertarian mindset would think anybody in the government at all, from a representative to the president, their job is what? Why do we have them there?
Nothing. You have a person without a key walk into a room with a door without a lock. That's what government needs to be. As soon as they can do something, they can basically corrupt that deal. So if I have the ability to pay someone money, right? What do you think is going to happen? If I give you the ability, you have the checkbook, right? Mm-hmm. You can pay someone money. Like you might make a couple of good decisions where you paid somebody money who really matters. But if you have the ability to pay money to people, you're going to pay people money that don't deserve it. That's 100% certain in the order of government. So what you need to do is like you have the checkbook and you have to get 953 signatures of other people and you have 30 seconds to write the check, right? And if I give you guidance, if I give you rules so that you can't do corruption easily, that's the only way to keep it so that your corrupt nature as a human being doesn't reveal itself in the real world. 100%. If there's an NGO, there's corruption. If there's a budget item, there's corruption. If there's a politician, there's corruption. It's almost assumed that if there's a person involved, there will be a person acting on their own interests and using a system of government to be able to help themselves, help their friends, help their political future.
So then how how does it work? How does it get anything done? What is
That's the
how do
point
you
of
run it?
libertarian. You don't get anything done. You let the free market and individuals, and all you are is the referees. All you are is the people who make sure that the laws that you create are being enforced. Period.
So you're saying almost like a government by the people, and we have a select group that's just like, actually, that's illegal. We can't do that.
Exactly.
That's good. Go. I'll allow
Enforce
it.
the rules. No policy.
Couldn't
no
they be corrupt?
Yes, and that's why, like Isaac believes in having the set of people that sort of like create enough power to be able to be corrupt, have that wash out every 4 years, so that it doesn't have a chance. Like if I were a special interest and I want to invest in Kelin as my representative, would I give her $1,000 that if I knew she was going to be there for 4 years? Or would I give her $1 billion if I knew she was going to spend a lifetime there? Once you know how to wield power and how to corrupt, you're going to do it for your entire career. So making it short stints, completely neutered, really hard to be able to spend money or use your. So if you want to solve a problem and you're in government, you're going to have a really hard time solving it because you're only there a short period. You don't have all that much power. You don't have all that much money or influence. You're going to have a hard time getting anything done. And that is the freaking point.
So if someone were to become corrupt,
yes,
they just aren't as badly corrupt because there's no time to make them.
Exactly. I wouldn't invest in you to be corrupt if I only knew that I had you for 4 years.
Yeah.
If you had a lifetime appointment, I could have you for an entire lifetime, and I'd be willing to invest more into you.
I could buy you and make you do
100%.
Awful things, but in 2 years or whatever it is, someone can come undo it.
That's what we have to do, is we have to have distrust in government officials. So when they're wielding their power, we know they only have a really short stint, and I will underinvest in that person because I know they can't do a whole lot, because it's going to take them 2 years to get on a committee and 2 years to be able to wield that power. And then I have to start over again with the next guy.
And so you're saying the group of people that are sort of the referees also are changing.
Yes. The referees, the players are corrupt.
Yeah.
The influences are corrupt, and the referees are corrupt.
So like in my mind, there's a CEO that runs a company. There's a board of directors the CEO reports to. If this were the government, you're saying CEO and board of directors all get replaced every so
if my board of
often.
directors were a lifetime appointment, and I could be like, hey, Bob, I know something about you, and I'm going to own your vote forever. And the next guy's like, I'm going to pay you $1 billion, and I'm going to own your vote forever. Here, I know what interests you. You like jet skiing, and I'm going to buy you a jet ski, and I'm going to own your vote forever. Like, it takes time to be able to corrupt all those board of directors. But if I had a new board of directors every 6 months, I would not have enough time to own enough people to get my way no matter what. I would have a new pushback central all the time when those people get dispatched.
So how do you feel then about the idea of something truly great that could make things run very efficiently?
Nope.
And it's a good idea.
Nope. Doesn't
and then
work.
Someone comes and undoes it.
I know. That's what they're banking on. That you're going to buy into what they can get done because it serves your interest.
Yeah.
But if there was something that wasn't of your interest, that there was a lifetime, totally bought person that was bought, integrated into the system that can overrule you, you'd be like, that's a bad idea. So long that they can float enough stuff that gets you bought in, that if the corruption's good and it goes in my favor, I'll turn a blind eye to it. It's only a couple of them that aren't in your interest. Then all of a sudden you're like, that shouldn't be a lifetime appointment. At least I got to wash out of that person that has the corrupt enough nature to be able to pull something off.
So you think then everybody would stick with the good ideas because there's no incentive.
Ideas. That's the point, is no ideas. Any interest in any problem solution that comes through the mechanism of government is going to be corrupt. That is a standard. There's no such thing as a policy that is not corrupt. So nothing. You want to solve a problem? You don't go to the government and say, hey, this thing is an injustice, let me solve it. You don't go to the government because they can't do anything, because they're limited by a constant turnover, no money, no power positions. They're like, oh shit, government can't solve it for me. I'm going to have to go solve it myself. Now an individual I would trust, I would trust them implicitly. The government, no dice.
So what's the individual part of?
The individual. Like, name a problem and I'll tell you how a government would solve it and an individual will solve it.
What happens if there's a city that breaks out in the United States and it's like high crime and all this, like all these criminals are robbing and looting and setting things on fire and it's just mass chaos and they need something to quell that?
So the interest of the local community. Do you think the police chief of that community would have an interest in making more crime or less crime?
Less.
Crime.
Well, I'm just being devil's advocate. Yeah. Does it put police officers out of a job if there's no crime? I could see them wanting a little.
The smaller the group, the easier it is to not, fold into the corruption. So libertarians basically take the quark. We devise things down to its lowest component that can solve the actual problem. So if you're, a city budget and a city police force and a city fire, they have the ability. So they are sort of like the city government is probably your best line of defense. If the federal level controls all cities, then it's just a proxy for whatever the federal policy is, even if it doesn't benefit the actual community. So if you're in a community that has high crime, you can't walk down the street without getting mugged, right? The police chief has an incentive to protect you as the taxpayer to be able to quell the crime. No matter.
Otherwise, people leave your city. And so you're almost saying then no federal government, everything just state run.
Yep, exactly.
And if people don't like it, you move to a different state.
So
and if you leave, then
down to individual community. So if you can get down to the state, to the county, down to the city, if they can solve their own problems and they're not like, hey, there's crime here, we have a bunch of meth heads here, federal government come save me, versus like, all right, we got meth heads here, let's do police protection and enforce the laws that are already in the books, and we can set our own laws on the state level. We don't need the federal government for our money or influence or policy. So let's just say you live in an area that is one demographic. Let's just say Somalis, because they're in the news. And they're breaking the law a whole lot, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to enforce the laws, and you don't care whether or not Somalis or blacks or Jews or anybody. It's a law that's being broken. You're going to enforce the law to get less meth. But then the federal government's like, this is unfair that we're targeting Somalis. So we're going to get some district judges, some federal judges, to be able to go very lenient on anybody who gets arrested by your local police departments and they were doing meth, but they're Somali. And the judge is like, we like Somalis and I want to give you a second chance. And they give a corrupted stance on giving an advantage to a certain group, right? And then all your police are like, what the frick am I arresting these people for? I hand them up to a federal judge and they're like kicking them out of jail and letting them get back on the streets. Why would I even do what I was going to do? But if you're like, if the policy is on the local level and your Somali meth heads or the meth dealers are causing a big problem, it hands off from arresting them, prosecuting them, and jailing them. And the federal government has nothing involved in it whatsoever. Now your police force is like, when I do the thing and I do the hard thing where I approach somebody, they actually go to prison and they serve a sentence because that's our local policy. And we dealt with something was happening in our community the way that we want it to, not what the federal government wants.
It's kind of, you're almost making your community members look at it as, hey, I'm like this business owner. This is my business. I want business to be good,
right,
and prosper. So I'm going to quell the things that are going to hurt it.
Exactly. Whatever affecting your local community is how you're going to enforce policy in your own community. And if it's bad, if it's homelessness, if it's drug use, if it's whatever, if it's immigration, you set your own policy with what's hitting your own community. Federal government's like, hey, from a federal standpoint, we want to be easy on immigrants, or we want to be easy on, meth dealers or whatever. Then they can overrule
as a ploy.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
If it's politically expedient, they have control. Same thing with education. If education rolls down to your local school districts, but it has nothing to do with your local school districts, right? You can, the tax-paying community can see what's ailing our community. Oh, we don't have enough kids in this specialization, or going into college, graduating, going into college. And like we're enacting policies that don't make sense for our local community, but because the federal government's able to roll down those policies to us, we almost have to do them.
So how about a situation like elderly, like old retiree, can't work anymore, needs taking care of though, not dead, or somebody that's severely injured, can't work, the disabled, the elderly, the people that have to still live and are unable to work, and taking care of them. How would that work?
So you have a concentration of need in your community where you have a bunch of people who aren't putting anything into the tax base and taking care of them. What does it mean to take care of an elderly?
Make sure they have everything they need, whether that's medical attention or food, shelter, clothing, someone to care for them if they can't.
If you're the mayor and you have a city that has a bunch of old people in it and they didn't plan right, they don't have retirement savings, or
someone that was like suddenly horrifically injured and they're like, I didn't have my whole life to plan. And
how would you take care of them? On a local level, you're mayor of whatever town this is, Kelin town. How would you take care of them?
I don't know. That's why I'm not mayor. I got to find money somehow. GoFundMe? I don't know. That's why I'm not in politics.
You would ask the people who weren't in a predicament of peril to be able to stand up and help Susie Smith.
Yeah. Do I think that's going to happen?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. You were the first to point out when people lost their SNAP benefits, the community stepped up and attached and did giveaways, like made donations to help those people.
Some did. Yeah.
Right. And when it's in your local community, when you're like the guy that lives 2 streets over needs something and we need to help her, using the local community to help Susie Smith rather than helping the entire.
But do you think though, that was a situation that, yes, I was like, yay, communities are coming together. That was also something everybody knew was temporary. Do you think we would get the same response if it was, no, I need you to actually support these people until they are gone? Like, I guess you'd have to make sure that your community members have the means to do that.
Who's responsible for Grandma Bertha?
Ideally, Grandma Bertha's family.
So the family is number one, right?
You
Bertha's
would think.
Struggling. And yeah. And then who's responsible? Who would you want to be? Let's just say you had a relationship where if you were independent, you had full freedoms. If you were dependent, you had no freedoms. Kelin, if Kelin was going to make sure that my medical bills got paid, food was in the refrigerator, meals were prepared, all of that, what would be the requirements for Grandma Bertha? Would you have stipulations, or would you just willingly give to Grandma Bertha?
I mean, it kind of depends on the situation.
Okay.
Like, obviously, we want people to plan and do what they can, but there are situations, and I know maybe it's the exception, where what if somebody just really was blindsided or unable to plan? And they're like, I am totally at the mercy of strangers. I cannot support myself. So let's
just say you had your tax dollars that went out into the AI system. And every dollar that you sent in taxes, you knew exactly where it went. Okay?
Okay.
And so you picked Grandma Bertha, who, no fault of their own, right?
Yeah.
Received $1 of your tax donation. And it went to her and everybody else who, like, that's a story that I can buy into.
Yeah. Okay. So you're saying sort of use our tax revenue in a way that we are like, instead of saying, I paid all these taxes and I still have shitty roads and I still have programs that aren't working and I'm still wasting money.
If you're going to pay tax dollars and you can allocate it, you would pick Grandma Bertha first, and roads first. There would be things on your tax dollars that you would never hit that checkbox as to say, oh, lesbian dance theory in Uganda. I'm not checking that box, and I'm going to make sure more of the money goes to the places that I
kind of like, hey, we're going to pay into this maybe Social Security like system, but here's where I'm showing you it's actually being utilized properly. And then we're like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
And then
you would give all day to that.
elderly and disabled get the money. And I know when I'm elderly, I get the money. And when my kids are elderly, they get the money because
using
it's
that
working.
exception to the people who actually deserve it, nobody's going to disagree with that. Everybody's going to want to give to people who actually need it, and we can make a difference. That's not what we're objecting to. You are giving your tax dollars to people who do not deserve it, aren't in that peril, right? And a majority of your tax dollars are going to people who are ill-deserved. So using the leverage of the people who actually deserve it to justify wasting it on people who don't is not a fair argument as far as I'm concerned.
Starting to like this, Joe.
Yeah.
More and more.
Yeah. And that's what AI is going to be able to deliver us. That when you spend tax money, having more vision, more transparency into what you're actually funding, and being able to opt out of things that aren't part of the necessary funding. So if I said, I'm going to create a law that is going to take government funding to be able to take people that are actually hungry. In your brain, a whole scenario of who is hungry and who is not, right? You're going to be able to take the people who really deserve it. So what would the category be? If I was databasing it, I would say people who lost their job recently, people who came into an illness, like all of those people are going to be like, yes, that's exactly where I want my tax money to go to. These people, which is 90% of the people who are receiving your tax money, like, no, and no.
Show us what your money went to before you were struggling.
Yes.
My nails and a new phone and a new car and this. But now I lost my job and I need money. It's like,
right. But that is a majority of tax money that is spent to be able to buy votes and to get power and all the corruption we're talking about. So yes, you have a downside that if you get rid of that funding completely, you alienate those Grandma Berthas who actually need it. But then you have to create legislation that allows those people to be satisfied by cutting the expense of the fraud out.
Okay, so how about in this libertarian country?
Yes.
What about social issues?
Right.
Like election years, we always see people fighting about abortion, trans and gay rights, things of that nature. Is that sort of left to the state and the representative that was voted in? Is that just do whatever you want to do? Like how do the social issues work?
That, though?
Well, I feel like nowadays you have the federal government that makes bans or allows things or puts stipulations on things. And so would that just happen at the state level?
Well, and those are the interests of the representative government that we have. So let's just say the rest of the country hates fucking coal, but you live in West Virginia and your entire city is propped up by coal mining, right?
Yeah.
Should you be able to elect somebody who has a pro-coal narrative, somebody who believes in coal, or the federal government says no coal across the board?
Yeah. You'd probably want someone that.
Right. So that, as far as like the transgender issue and the gay issue and this won't stop. Stop it.
Someone's trying to call you. They're like, ring, ring, ring.
So anyway, your representative can take an argument that if their district believes in that thing, right, they can go to the federal government and represent you for the thing. Like if I had 20 coal towns and they all elected a pro-coal representative, they should be able to go to the national level, the federal level, and represent coal, right? And then a place that doesn't believe in coal, maybe they have hydroelectric or they have nuclear or whatever, they should be able to send their representatives for whatever they believe in. We shouldn't take a thing you believe in and make it banned so there can't be an interest that's represented in government. That flies in the face of our system.
Penny Lane says these aren't issues, these are people. The fact that we're even discussing this is a distraction. What?
What does that mean?
Could you clarify a little, Penny Lane?
Yes, please. Fundamental right of bodily autonomy, not left to the state rep.
Oh, so
okay. Are you willing in principle to take bodily is how I think it says.
Yeah, she's saying like fossil fuels isn't a comparable issue to people's fundamental rights. So like abortion versus fossil fuels. Maybe, I guess, is what she's talking about.
There's still an argument to be had in all of those policies. Like, you can't say that coal is bad just because your state doesn't have a lot of coal rights or coal mining, right?
Mm-hmm.
That means that you have to defer to the people who have an interest in having something. Like, your city fails if you can't mine coal because that's all you freaking have, right? So if, libertarians are like you and I sitting across this table, I'm allowed to do anything I want as long as it doesn't affect you. So now the argument is any of my choices, if it affects you, whether or not you have a say in whether or not what I did affected you. So if you're a mom and you have a baby inside of you, the argument isn't your rights as a person, it's the rights of the thing that you have inside of you. If we disagree and say the thing inside of you is yours and doesn't have its own autonomy, now we have the beginning of our discussion. And that's where abortion separates from, bodily autonomy, which is more valuable. Is it the person that needs medical attention, or is it the person that's paying for the medical attention? We have not decided whether or not, if the dependents, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're the mom and you're hosting the baby. So do you have more rights than the baby that's inside of you? And the argument has gone like, to a certain point, that person doesn't get rights until it gets to a certain point. And now you killing it is taking your bodily autonomy and making it more important than the bodily autonomy of the person that's inside of you. It's a argument to be had, right? And we have not yet decided what we're comfortable with as a society.
Yeah. I mean, Penny Lane says, yes, I agree. Fundamental rights aren't left to the states.
No, fundamental rights should be to the states,
you're
because
saying
an individual, a single person and a neighborhood and a county and a state has the ability to vocalize what their rights actually are. And, if you're in a group that your rights have been minimized, you understand where the state decides that you're not important enough to, to voice and to give rights for. You feel a little bit like you're lesser of a citizen of that. We're in a city where I can go to a city council and I can make my personal voice be heard in front of a person that can hear me. Like, when's the last time you went to a representative in a federal government and felt like your voice was heard?
I don't think I've ever gone to
and
a
if
representative.
you did, and let's just say they accepted your you sent them a letter and said, hey, you know what, this thing is super meaningful to me. This threatens my livelihood and whatever. Please accept me to sit in front of that podium and give my side of the story. So would you be invited is number one. And number two, would your voice be really heard by the people who are making policy? Versus city council meeting and you did the exact same thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like we always see these videos online of like celebrities going and voicing their opinion, and it's almost like because of who they are, but does that actually go anywhere?
Yeah, it's less than a 0% chance that on the federal level, if I said something in front of a hearing, that it would go anywhere. If I went to a city council meeting and made my voice heard, I might think that it's a number bigger than 0, that my voice would actually be heard by the people who are making the policy. That's why I trust local way more than I do federal. And it's from a mathematical standpoint, it's easier to take a rule or law or regulation and make everybody conform to it, even if it's against their will. But that's where tyranny begins, where you can control all people rather than having 2,000 districts be able to conform to something. Like, it's a coin flip. Like, if I were to take an anti-coal measure and I'll roll it out to the entire country, I can end coal today. But if I made it up to the districts, I might have 1,000 that go for coal and 1,000 go against coal.
I mean, does it seem to you like in a lot of different instances, smaller groups are more effective than large?
It's harder. It takes longer. It's less effective, right? But when it comes to the rights and freedoms of somebody, do I want somebody to enact a law that hits all people, or a local law that might get voted out in?
I think smaller groups are more effective.
For sure.
It's not that like too many cooks in the kitchen idea where If it's too big, you can't get anything done. If it's smaller, you've got a chance.
It's exactly right. And it's messier. Like, this form of government has its downsides, but it's not as large of a downside as a federal rollout of a regulation that doesn't give voice to people who come in conflict with those procedures, rules, or regulations.
Paylane says it's ridiculous. GWB needed to get reelected. That is the only reason we are even talking about abortion in this day and age. Yes, science tells us it's not a baby, not your state rep. No, they don't. Fundamental rights are protected. They should not be left up to the whim of your state representative. These aren't policy issues. These are inherent fundamental rights. That's constitutional law, Bill of Rights.
Yeah. And those are Democrats who've had the last 30 years of like proponents of Democrat policies.
Yeah.
And that's why they're big fans of this whole sciences, Bill of Rights.
Science tells us it's not a baby. Do we not charge someone for murder if they killed a pregnant woman's child?
Yeah.
If a pregnant woman miscarries, do you say, well, it wasn't even a baby? Or do you grieve with that person because they lost someone?
Yeah.
Like, it's like there are situations in which it very much is. Do you go to baby showers? Why? They don't have a baby yet. You know, like all these other things, it's socially acceptable to accept it as another life. But then it comes down to the idea of abortion. And now suddenly that's not a life and not a thing and not a... Yeah, that I don't always get. And I heard someone say recently, well, it should just be government on any level is out of that argument completely. It's
Correct.
the person and their doctor. And I'm like, I don't know. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, get the federal government, get the state governments completely out of it. And these are things that, you know, when it comes to health decisions and you have somebody who's an advocate for you to try to make sure you stay alive, those are discussions that you have with another person that has, you know, doctors should be of the noblest, specialization in our society. They should be protecting and preserving lives. And when it becomes political, now you can take killing of a life on purpose and somehow justify it as something that is a, social right of some kind. And it's a bastardization of what we think rights are.
And we're never going to all get on the same page.
Right.
Some people think it's a life, some don't. Some people think it should be only in certain situations, and some people think never. So if you just take any and all government laws and regulations out completely and you take your pregnancy to a doctor like you would take any other issue to a doctor, and you
Let
two
it be
handle
amongst
it
yourselves. Yes. And if you ask my opinion doesn't matter in this case, 100%.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be called in for a consultation on whether or not I think morally it's acceptable for a single individual to go with their doctor and come to the conclusion that it's not a safe thing to carry, to birth. It's not my deal. Right?
Yeah.
The moral implications are completely on you. But for the federal government to say across the board in the Bible Belt, in the West Coast, in the New England, this is the law of the land and this is how we should feel about it. It's not using the laboratories of states and communities to ferret out how we, believe as a society.
Yeah. No, the framers of the Constitution knew that there were certain rights that had to be protected, the Bill of Rights. No, in most states, the point at which abortion is legal is something like 6 to 8 weeks. And okay, the men need to be paying child support for conception on. How do you feel about that? Men pay from conception on.
I don't understand the concept. I don't understand the connection between child support. Like, what is child support?
I think what she's saying is we're expecting the mother to, if this is a life, if you get pregnant and you have life inside of you and you can't do anything about that but allow it to grow, the mother has to foot the bill for doctor's visits. The mother has to.
Why does the mother, there's two people that make a baby who are going to get married or are married. Like, what?
Well,
why
that's
is
the
there
thing
another
is,
individual?
If the man suddenly goes, oh, oops, I actually don't want this, I'm out. Do you believe in making him participate, or is he allowed to just leave? Like, hey, we're not married.
Well,
and I'm out.
There are other contracts that are here. So like, let's just say you and I decide to go buy a building, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we agree, like when you spread your legs and
It's so crude.
you spread your legs and I deposit the seed we go buy the building. And then at a certain point, I'm like, whoa, dude, I didn't realize the roof needed to be replaced. I am out. What does contract law say about two people who make the investment in taking an action that creates the buying of a building, and then one person that's in the you as a woman, you have to be discriminating as to who you enter a contract with when you spread your legs.
So yeah, I mean, just as much as, well, he made the baby, he's responsible. Well, you did too, and you're responsible.
You enter the contract as two willing parties entering into an investment and creating a life.
Did you go and perform an act?
Yes.
That you know creates life?
Yes.
And did you do it with a loser that you couldn't trust to be there to back up the life?
Yeah. So the interview process needs to be a little higher, because if I'm entering and buying a building with someone, I want to make sure that they have the means to be able to pay for the building.
I interviewed this person. They were a really good candidate. We were in a long-term relationship. We discussed making a babies, and we were on the same page, and we both want this.
Yes.
Baby happens. Yay, we're excited. And then all of a sudden, you know what? I actually don't.
Yeah.
And I like this person now, and I'm out.
So
do you make them?
Breach of contract, like whatever you entered into the contract. So it's like, hey, I'm cool, willing to spread my legs, no problem. And it's with the verbal agreement, I guess, that if what the fruits of spreading my legs equals I have a baby, are you cool with doing this? And then you're like, yeah, I'm half in. I'm good. I'm going to invest and contribute to this thing. And if you don't, it's breach of contract. So create a contract knowing before you spread your legs what all of the consequences are, right? And be cool with that before the spreading of the legs, not after spreading the legs.
So knowing full well that engaging in an act that will create life,
yes,
could happen.
Yes.
If you think, oh my gosh, what happens if I'm a single mother? Can I live with the repercussions? If it's yes, go ahead. If it's no, then don't.
Right.
I've often said to people, when I hear women that are like, oh my gosh, I got pregnant again. I can't believe this. How am I going to have another kid? I always say, you know how that works, right? Like, you know how babies are made, right? You don't have to. You don't actually have to do it. But if we do, but be ready for anything.
That's a dissecting the section of this conversation. How much of this is people who got into an action when they both know the causes and one person wants to bail out after the fact, and how many people just take an action that is the function of procreation, right, in complete denial that this was just for fun, it was never supposed to happen.
Yeah.
So a method of birth control, right?
Yeah.
Or a method of, I just entered in with a bad partner.
Yeah. I mean, if you're about to make a major purchase that you will be paying for the next several years, I bet you're reading the contract. I bet you're looking into this and doing some research. I bet you're thinking, can I get screwed over? Or what happens if this fails? Or what's going to make me right if this thing I bought is suddenly wrong? Like, there are things in place to make the best decision possible and to live with how that pans out. But yeah, we almost see having sex as just a thing humans do.
So if you take a fling with a stranger, are you, when you're doing it, saying, if this results in a baby, I'm cool with that, totally worth the fling? Or if there's an alternative where, like, if I have this fling with a stranger and I have a baby, I'm just going to kill it anyway, so no big deal. Like, are you depending on the accepted murder of your actions versus saying, if it happens, I totally take that upon myself? Because women have a higher responsibility, and through sort of anthropology and evolutionary biology, like, women knew what they were doing when they entered an act of sex that might result in a baby, and considered that before the act, and knowing, like, all right, I got to know what I'm going to do. And if you didn't have the access to abortion, if you only had to consider caring for a baby for this fling, would you be more discriminating in who you choose to lay down in bed with?
Probably. Yeah. Yeah.
But if we want to dismantle the family and we want to have sex with outside of marriage and we want to be irresponsible, then we have this whole other conversation about deluding ourselves in the details of what this act means.
Yeah.
Right. And I want the fun without the responsibility, and then depend on an act of murder to out us from the responsibilities of our actions.
I remember I dated a guy for a while before I met my husband, and somebody was asking me one time, about that relationship. And I said, oh, they were fine. They were a fine person. There was no breakup out of anger. Nothing bad happened. I just realized I want a husband and kids and a family one day. And this person isn't that material. I don't see this person as my forever spouse, as the father of my kids. It's not what I'm envisioning. The personality just isn't right for what I want. And I said, I'm not going to continue to waste time here. I'm going to go look what I want. And we wish each other the best. We'll be friendly. All that thought went into that. So why in God's name would I say, oh, let me go ahead and do something that might hurl me into that other reality and be like, oh shit, now what?
You would have to be more discriminating about who you pick as sexual partners, because you're going to be coupled with them forever unless the federal government gives you an out that you can just kill the result of your actions, right? And be completely removed from, any kind of repercussion.
Yeah.
And so if you remove that, like, I don't think abortion as a tool for the medical community should be taken away, because there's situations that it's actually required for.
Yeah.
But I do think that anybody who uses abortion for some kind of birth control is the highest order of evil.
Yeah. And that's why I've never said that I'm like 100% pro-life. Yes. I don't think it should be used as birth control. I think if you had an oops, that's on you. But I've also heard of medical situations that it is not surviving. There is this major issue. There are things where I'm like, now that's between you and your doctor, and I can't blame you at all.
Yeah. But the exception does not change the rule. The 90% of them that are completely there's a couple of reasons why you get in that predicament. Is it 100% avoidable?
Yeah.
If I did an interview and said, Kelin, do you want to have a baby within the next year? And you said no.
No.
And I'm gonna say, here's the spoiler: don't have sex.
Do you know how babies are made?
Yeah,
babies don't do
made.
that.
You have sex, and there's a chance, a dice roll, that you're gonna have a baby. If that were to happen, just don't have sex, and that part is completely avoidable. Don't tell about rape or incest or any of that, because that's a sheer minority. If you do what I say, 90% of the killing of babies is off of the radar. And I'm fine with that. So if you're like, we do abortion, but it's only for medical interventions only, rape and incest, I'm like, cool. I hate it because it's still loss of life, but we remove 90% of the ones that weren't one of those exceptions.
Yeah. Yeah. And so again, that would come down to the state, or just make that overall just medical, all states.
The state has no business nosing its way in. The federal government has no business nosing its way in to a decision between a doctor. Like, there's a checklist, right? The doctor says, I want to make sure that I do no harm, right? That's like rule number 1 on the doctor's checklist. Am I doing harm? Yes or no? Number 2, could this kill the mother? I got to make a hard decision. Do no harm, but the mother's life is in danger here. Or this was not a birth of her choosing, or a conception of her choosing. Or this shows a huge downside. Like, do you think if a mother gets pregnant and it's a Downs baby, and that Downs baby is going to complicate that mother's life, threaten her job, her school, her whole future, if that's one she can look at and say, yeah, I don't want that complication right now. I think that's a sheer evil to be able to choose, almost like CRISPR, and saying, like, if I don't have a blonde hair, blue-eyed, 6'4" baby and kill all the other ones. Like, it's the same class of evil where I'm not going to take the blessing of creating a life and judge that it's not my perfect baby, so I want to try again.
Yeah. So then what about hold on, it's got to come back to me how I wanted to word this. We had talked earlier about somebody with a particular interest having the right to vote someone in that represents that interest.
Yes.
What if you have the extreme conservative, religious, zero abortion? I don't care what the situation is. All life is valuable. You did this. It's on you for all consequences, and no doctor should have the right to do it for anything. And you have that like extreme mindset. Does that group have the right to try to vote someone in who thinks like them?
Yes. And in our system of government, usually the fringe cases don't carry enough weight to do anything, so they get silenced just because they're
like they would be so small.
And when they take the majority, then it's usually the civic duty of everyone else to get really filled with anger and, sort of like resolve to be able to silence that. So you have this pendulum swinging that only swings in certain directions, that when there's too much power assessed in one direction, that the other deal, like the people who get the power get apathetic, and the people who are out of power get really motivated, and it ends up righting it and keeping it right in the middle. So anytime an extremist view gets too much attention, the other view swings into action and balances that power. That's the genius of our founding.
Yeah, because I would think, if I had to guess, in a state situation, you may have some in the extremes on either side, but you're going to have a middle ground that is probably greater than the extremes, and you go with that.
Well, and as sort of like a voter, what extreme means, but it's been diluted and it's been perverted in our lifetime.
Yeah.
So if I said that I wanted to send a representative who took Black culture and lifestyle and brought it to federal government, we'd be like, yeah, that's absolutely needed. Like somebody to represent the people of their district that are mostly Black, to be able to take what's important to them and take it to the government. But if I took a white nationalist, someone who brought all of the white culture from a group and took their interests to government, in your brain, you're like, the Black one's good and the white one's bad. Well, from a mathematical standpoint, those are exactly equal. So why is one do something to your brain, right?
Yeah.
As like, I want to take a sort of like a corruption and give it a little bit of favor, and I want to take the majority and I want to give it less favor for it. When in reality, I should be able to run as a white nationalist. I should be able to take my interests of my community, whatever it is. And if it's a good interest and it has believability and it has support, I should be able to make a factor in federal government. What would happen if I ran as a white nationalist? Do you think it would be accepted on the whole?
No.
What if I ran as a Somali or a Black or an immigrant nationalist, and I took that as my theme of candidacy, and I took it to the federal government? Do you think I would have as much pushback?
I think it depends on who's in office.
So, but what that reveals to you is that we know the danger for a majority opinion to run rampant over the liberties of other people. So we almost want to take the minority view and give it more energy than it needs to, so it balances out the opposing view. And anytime something gets too big of a majority, I don't care if it's a billionaire, right? What that represents to me is someone who has gone off the grid to a point, right, that we need to balance them with the voice on the other side. We don't want anybody to have too strong of a voice. And we have a system that mitigates it. And as much as you love your voice to be magnified to 10 no matter what, we have the habit of ramping your magnification down so that you are diffused for the whole populace. There can't be an overall winner. There always has to be the strife, the pushback from alternative views. Yeah,
everything's got to sort of be middle ground.
Right.
Which makes sense.
Right. But if your interests are really strong, how likely are you willing to give up your advantage for the opposing view? Even if you're on 10 and they're on 0, like how willing you're like, hey, you know what? They need to have a bigger voice.
Yeah.
That's the corruption of the federal government. We're on the state level or a city level or a county level. You can balance that opposing view very quickly because you have constituents who can speak out and add their 2 cents into it.
Yeah.
A lot quicker than you can on the federal level.
Probably why we always see like we'll have these candidates come about that we're like, oh, I really like this guy. This is sort of the middle ground, the makes sense kind of person. He's kind of an everyone's candidate. And then they get to a certain level and ultimately you hear people say, oh, they got captured. Oh, they went this way or whatever.
Yes. Yeah. Because the system captures you because it needs you in a certain, you can't be you.
Yeah.
You have to be.
You'll go nowhere if you stay that way.
But I see representatives on city councils and, county commissioners who stay themselves no matter what. So what is it about the local level that allows people to operate how they really are and what they really feel? And the federal government's like, hey, I felt this way, but I got to almost tamp down my real interest in who I'm representing and play the game rather than be who I am.
Yeah.
That's why I don't trust
smaller groups are more effective.
100%. Messier, incapable of getting things done on their own. They take massive amounts of cooperation. Federal government, they're like, hey, we can just roll it out and everybody has to conform. Of course, that's what tyrants think. If I were king, I could just make everybody do everything. That's a way more efficient means of taking whatever your whims are and making everybody conform to them. So that's why I'm a libertarian. I hate federal government. I hate unique, strict, uniform rule. I like messy, small little pieces of it that adds up into an aggregate.
God dang it, I am in on this. Because I've always, my biggest gripe with government now is the fact that everything is always at the whim of the person in power.
Yes.
Everything is their own self-interest.
Mm-hmm.
There's literally nothing we can do about anything.
Right.
We don't like this policy. Can't do anything about it. We don't like this person. Who cares? You can't vote them out. They're going to be there forever. We don't like how they run something. We have no say. They're corrupt. Can't do anything. They took this position that was meant to be serving others, working for the people, and they have completely become over us and all powerful.
So let me talk about weed for a minute because
oh yeah,
do you smoke weed?
I've tried it, I think twice. I was very unimpressed.
Okay, so the federal government classifies weed as a controlled substance, and it's illegal federally that the DEA can come in, and if you're a distributor, they can arrest you and whatever. Colorado is like, F you. Like, we're a state. We want to play with weed. We want to see how it adds into our economy and our government. We're going to do it anyway. F you. So the state supersedes the federal DEA regulations and allows the people who live in Colorado to do a different thing completely. And it's a laboratory where we get to look and see what's the upside of them, contemplating, what's the downside of them contemplating it, and allow other states to be able to say, hey, we want that, or no, we don't want that. But the federal government's like, hey, we said so, and you're breaking our rules and whatever.
Yeah.
But Colorado broke that mold and said states are more important than what the federal government wants. F you. And if you would take more of those policies and sort of like political agendas and have states break off and do their own thing. Now, I'm not going to say that I believe that the Colorado benefited from weed or not. I don't really care. It's not the state that I live in, but it's something that you can garner information from and learn other states whether or not they would join it. Mm-hmm. And I like the fact that the federal government was neutered and they couldn't do anything about what the state of Colorado did. And even though they could have, inflicted some, federal regulations on them, they really didn't. And they let that thing come to whatever fruition that it was meant to become. And by the way, marijuana lowered to a Schedule 1. I think that's how it works, where executive order, where it's made federally, they've lowered the threshold so that it's not as illegal as it once was.
Well, yeah, I saw that they just classified it differently, but I
Yeah.
didn't see what exactly that's doing.
It's just a directive for federal authorities to take it easier on people who have it, distribute it, use it, so on and so forth.
So when we, like Ohio, made it legal,
Yes.
before this reclassification, was it just by state?
What do you mean?
Like some states you could have it and some you couldn't. Is that how it was? And now they made
so
it.
It had federal guidelines, what was enforceable from the federal level, but then states were able to take and set their own policy on how they enforced it.
Okay.
So there were some states that were, you drove around and you had a little bit in your car and you didn't even get a ticket. You didn't get really anything for it.
Yeah.
The other states that were still hardcore about it, and they chose to prosecute it and put people in jail for it.
So now they've just sort of made it that all states may not be totally legal.
All states can still do their own thing if they want to hit it hardcore. It just doesn't have federal pressure to be able to make it more than what the state would allow. If I had the state of Joe and I wanted to make it so nobody smoked it, I can still have state laws that govern how I enforce it and how I prosecute it.
So did it change anything for somebody that lives in a state that it's totally illegal?
Not really, because states were doing their own thing. It's only an acknowledgement that states had the lead on this, and the federal government was kind of taking a backseat to it.
So it didn't do anything.
You will probably see more states come in line with minimizing and making it so that the big thing is like, as a libertarian, this is a harder one for me to talk about because it's, when the state or the federal government take your liberties from you, that is the burden on them to make sure that they are truly insulating the rest of us from harm, right? What you were doing affects me, and you need to protect me by putting that person in prison or jail. And there were a lot of offenders for drug use that got put in prison or jail, and they would have never affected their neighbor. They would have never affected their friends. They would have never affected me living in Ohio.
It's not like they were driving inebriated. They just had it.
They had it.
Okay.
They were never a risk, and their liberties were taken from them. When you get put in prison, you are no liberties for you anymore. You are now a ward of the state or the federal government. And so there's a lot of people who are serving 20-year sentences for drug crimes that now, if the law applied to them right now, they would never be in prison. And so that's a little unfair that people have not been able to experience family and our neighborhoods and their family and all of that because of something that applied 20 years ago and not today.
Yeah. I mean, I've always thought, I'm in the broken chair. I have always thought, why don't we sort of treat it as alcohol, where you're in a safe environment, you're doing it, you're not hurting anyone, fine. But if you get hammered and you get behind the wheel and you put other people's lives in danger, not fine.
Right.
And so if someone just busts into your house and you have weed and you go to jail for it, not cool. So what is it? Like, what are the laws with it right now? I don't even know. Obviously, it's everywhere in Ohio now because something passed.
Yeah, and I think our prison overcrowdings and the people who were serving sentences for something that was now legal, I think, going forward, we're going to have far less people who, their liberties are taken away from them for that. But I feel for those people who have sentences that are serving 40 years into something that.
So if they made it legal, they did not cut the sentences of people already serving?
I don't think so, no.
Oh, I don't like that.
Yeah. But again, like the conspiracy, I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on. And if do you think private businesses should be involved in prisons?
Private businesses?
Yeah.
Involved in prisons?
Private prisons.
How so?
Am I really going to, I get to teach you something today?
Yes. I'm so naive.
Okay, so you have state and federal penitentiaries and infrastructure that is meant to house inmates, right?
Yeah.
And you have private companies that build prisons, and the state and federal government contracts them to keep people in cells, right? So they have an interest in the more things that are illegal. It means they get a contracted amount per body that's in a cell. They want more illegal things.
Yeah.
Right? They want higher sentences because it means they get
I'm going to build a jail. I want it to get used.
Exactly. So private prisons incentivize things to stay illegal because the influx of new people to come into your business that you get paid per body goes higher.
Yeah.
So it's a big injustice to have outside.
That sounds corrupt as hell.
Big time.
How is that legal?
The state knows that private institutions can do it better than federal agencies, federal institutions. And so it's a cost savings to allow a private industry to get in the business, right, of something that federal institutions and state institutions should be doing.
I can almost see both sides. I can almost see two sides of this. When it comes to like, hey, let's arrest someone for having some weed on them. They go to jail. Now my jail is doing good business. I want this because I built this thing. Then all of a sudden it becomes legal to have weed on you and you don't release that person. All of that feels corrupt to me. However,
so the most corrupt part, well, go ahead and finish your statement.
Oh, I was going to say, however, if I'm in a town that has a very high crime rate, people shooting each other, gang activity, theft, robbery, assault, whatever, and the government sucks at their job of protecting us, and a business comes along and is like, I'll benefit by locking all these people up. I'm going to be like, let's do this. So it's kind of like,
yeah, they're
how
not all
does it
villain.
work?
I agree with you. They're not all villain. They probably do things a lot better than the government can. Now, if that agency, let's just say Joe's prison group, right?
Yeah.
And I look at my spreadsheets and I say, oh, like these offenders that are doing weed, they represent 90% of the people that are in here that I'm getting paid for. Now I can take my money and lobby for legislators to not minimize marijuana or cocaine or fentanyl, because if you change the law and made it so I'd get less people coming, I can pay legislators to change their minds. Like I can give you $1 million. Joe Smith can only give you $2,000. I can lobby for the laws to stay harsher on crime so that I get an influx of the people who are filling my beds so that I get paid.
I could be like, I know Penny, and I'm going to lock up every man that doesn't pay child support to his pregnant girlfriend. And then they're like, okay, let's look at that.
That's exactly right. If there's an interest in it, the First Amendment says that you can spend money to support your interest, even if I'm a private prison who benefits from, harsher marijuana laws. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. As a libertarian, that stuff is going to happen. It is 100% certain it's going to happen, and keep things small, decentralized, and able to change on a whim. That's messy to be able to change something on a whim, but at least voters can change their local politics and set the tone for the rest of the country.
It does feel like a state can be more influential when everything's sort of a local deal.
But who does that influence, or who does that benefit? If a state
the
can
people.
be, not the people on the state level. Are you talking about between federal and state?
If the state is almost run like a business, we do this here, we don't do this here, then the people can be like, I like that, I'm going to come to your state. I don't like that, I'm going to go to a different state. Rather than the federal level saying everybody's doing everything. State has no influence whatsoever. You don't have a say. It's up to them.
Well, in compare, state is better than federal and community is better than state. So if you had a state that 3 counties did coal mining on, the state can say, well, I've got 85 counties that don't have coal mining. So if they had influence to be very anti-coal mining, well, you would feel the state's not taking your interest in consideration. Where if you had every county that only took their own self-interest in and didn't have to be over, sort of like the state overrule them on local deals, well, then mining counties can manage themselves and they would choose mining, and a county that didn't have mining has no business setting any kind of rules or regulations on something that doesn't even apply to them as a county. So that's why I say the smaller you get, the more interest can be served. Again, state is better than federal, but community is better than state.
Yeah. Brian says it puts it on the same basic level as Tylenol. Does it not? Does it? Is marijuana basically like Tylenol?
What does that even mean?
I don't know.
Same basic level as Tylenol, does it not? So basically, Tylenol is something that's over the counter and everybody has access to. It's sort of like put in the same like non-dangerous, but something you need.
Like you go get Tylenol, you go get weed.
You don't need a doctor in order to, get involved in it. So, yeah, I mean, are there downside risks to having the availability of any controlled substance as accessible as Tylenol? Because think about how many kids and people use marijuana only because it's illegal. If it was available to everybody and everybody was doing it, it would just be like, I'm going to go do marijuana when I need it, and I'm not going to do it when I don't need it.
Takes away the appeal.
Right. And that's how it has to be pressured. If it does pose, like alcohol and marijuana, I think are 100% synonymous, right? I think should be treated the same way.
Yeah.
Upsides, downsides are very similar. And if you made it not taboo and made it not that the rebellious spirits, were attracted to it, everybody can do it. So I'm not going to do that one.
Yeah. And I kind of agree with that. I remember when I was growing up as a kid, teenager, whatever, my parents always said, listen, if you ever want to have a beer or taste beer or whatever, come to me in our home. I'll sit down with you and I'll let you try something. And don't go sneaking off. Don't go get behind the wheel because you tried it at a party. Don't go doing something irresponsible. Come to me. You tell me what you want to drink of, and we'll sit here and do it in a safe environment. And I feel like that one made me not really care to do it. I tried it. It tasted terrible. I moved on with my life. But I also, I never felt the urge to hide anything. I never felt the urge to do anything illegal. I never felt like it wasn't this, I'm going to go and drink and blah, blah, blah. It was just kind of like I'll do it or I won't. And it kind of makes it turns the volume down on this thing you're going to do. And then maybe it's not abused so much.
Historically, anytime we've been prohibitive of something, we added a lure to it and we attracted a whole subset of the population to it.
Yeah.
If you just make it boring and a supplement or a medication, then it's just people use it when they need it and nobody cares. As long as you can be responsible with it, nobody cares.
Yeah. I just, like you said, I would think it's gotta have something. Like you can't just get blasted and then go and drive around or whatever.
Jerry says, I'm going to listen, but just wanted to wish you all and the staff a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you, Jerry. Nice I thought you were going to say bah humbug.
No. Rescheduling marijuana means moving it from its current classification, a Schedule 1 controlled substance, to a less restrictive schedule, such as Schedule 3 under the Federal Controlled Substances. The Act CSA, the change formally acknowledges that marijuana has an accepted medical use and a lower potential for abuse than Schedule 1 drugs, though it does not make it fully federally legal. And again, that just takes from a criminal standpoint. You lock less people up for doing it, and more apply when somebody's irresponsibly using it versus just having it in your possession or pursuing it, kind of thing, which I think is smart, because you again, taking liberty should be a huge responsibility of the state. And I think they had way too many things. Like, do you ever watch the videos about people getting pulled over and the things they get arrested for and whatever?
Yeah.
And those dipshits who have no idea what the job of law enforcement is.
They think they're going to like have a gotcha moment. And they
so stupid.
F around and find out.
So stupid.
Listen, I'm still saying, while we're on the subject of marijuana and the feds doing something with it and reclassifying and how you can have it and what's a guideline and what isn't and all of this, can we please, for the love of God, do something about the smell? Something's got to be done. If it's going to be everywhere and it's going to be okay for people to have it and it's not so dangerous, if people want to smoke it and not like ingest it through food or whatever, something's got to be done about this smell. Ever since Ohio voted to legalize it, I swear, neighborhoods, functions, driving down the street, I smell it in my car. I can't stand the smell of the stuff. What do we do with that?
Can I rant a little bit about just a personal annoyance that I have?
Yes.
Body odor. All right. People who take non-aluminum deodorants and they don't do a bit of good and they stink when you're walking around the supermarket and they just smell like yesterday's partying adventure.
Never.
Like, I think smell should be made illegal.
I was shopping one time. We were in like a shoe store with my kids.
Foot smell. Oh my goodness.
Oh no, not even that.
No,
not even that. But a couple that smelled like they just hotboxed their car with a whole bunch of weed is standing there. And I have to I got to go across the store. I'm like, I can't even be by these people. They reek. And I don't know. You can't do anything much about, I guess, someone's body odor. They've got to want to do it. But
dude, there are so many things on the marketplace that you can do about your body odor.
They've got to want to do it. You've got to want to wash yourself.
In the foot store, like my big anxiety about that is that people's feet smell like they were like in the cat litter box, cat urine, and like just stale, stuffy sweat in their socks. So when they take their shoe off, you get that release of ammonia and all of those other. I don't want to be exposed to that. So, and then fat people really, they stink more than skinnier people. They sweat more. They have folds that have bacteria. They emanate so much. So I think there should be more emphasis put on how you reek in front of other people. Start dousing yourself with essential oils for all I care.
But again, that's making the person do something differently. They've got to use a product or a soap or wash more often or lose weight or whatever have you. Whereas the weed, let's just make the substance itself smell better. We could go to space. We can't make that plant smell better. There's gotta be a way we can do it.
Is there are other really bad smells. I agree with you. Like, I don't like smelling it either when I'm walking around. But there are other smells that we also have to put a lot of emphasis
but
on.
it travels more too. Like, you can smell someone's BO if you're next to them. I can smell someone's weed in a car across the street. I walk in a neighborhood and I'm going for like an evening walk and I can tell one of these houses somebody's smoking somewhere. And I'm just like, for the
What about
love
when
of
you
God.
walk into an Arby's and there's a bunch of 70-year-olds that all wore Old Spice that day and you get inundated with their old spiciness?
Oh, that's another thing is, like dealing with the public and customers that come into your business. And you're like, do you know what I'm going to have to do now when you leave so that the rest of our customers don't think? That's another thing too. Sometimes it's brutal, strong cologne. Sometimes it's a horrific weed smell. And now what? Now I've got to have another customer come in and think we're all in here lighting up and smoking weed and getting high because the person in here before us smelled like that, not us. Don't you think that's going to like paint a picture for someone and affect what you're trying to do and affect someone else? God, I hate the smell of it.
I do 3 squirts of cologne in the morning and I don't smell it by the time I get here. Can you smell me?
If I'm close to you, I smell a little.
Okay.
It smells
From,
like
like-
a aftershave kind of clean smell. I can't smell it this far.
Okay.
I'd have to like walk past you.
All right. Tomorrow or next time, I'm doing 4 sprays. I'm going to do it until when you come in here, I smell like an old Italian guy. For sure.
I think it depends too on what you use.
I'm doing 4 on Wednesday.
I'll start wearing perfume then.
No, dude, no, we're doing my experiment first.
Well, then I wear perfume sometimes, but I've always sort of been taught that when you go to work, try not to wear a lot of perfume because you don't know if it's affecting other people. And like, I'm trying to say this delicately.
You're saying I stink, don't you?
No.
I feel it.
Because you have one sense that is lessened. I don't know if your other senses are heightened. So if I had a little perfume, I don't know if it would be overpowering to you compared to someone else. And so I don't do it because I don't want you to be
I
sneezing
want
all
to
day.
know what my squirt boundary is before someone's like, dude, too much.
Yeah, because if you're wearing it, you go nose blind.
Right. No, I don't smell it all day long, but I sometimes like after I, jump in the shower in the evening, I'll take my clothes off. I'll be like, wow, that was a lot, Joe. Like, what were you thinking that day?
Like you smell it come off of you then?
Yeah, right. And I'm thinking, did everybody have to smell that all day long? And I was like, I feel a little guilty about it. But if you don't smell me right now,
I don't.
I feel like I'm okay.
I don't recall ever smelling you unless I had to be like right next to you.
So, okay. So there, I do use aluminum-free deodorant, and some days it just does not do what it's.
I've been trying to as well,
and there's a fan that's behind me, so anything that I have goes to you. It wafts towards you. And I think it was maybe last week we had that 50-degree day, maybe Wednesday.
Yeah,
you were here, and I smelled me. Right, I smelled the Joe pheromones. Oh, I did. And
the deodorant or you?
Me. The deodorant wasn't covering the me smell, and I'm like, that's not a good smell. Like I smell way too much like a human being, and I was
didn't
afraid.
Smell you.
Well, thankfully, because it was not a pleasurable.
You were afraid
smell.
it was just like coming in.
Yeah, I was like, that's why the whole show I was like. Yeah, the whole show, I was like, I hope she doesn't smell me.
I had a boss one time that was trying to do the whole natural, don't wear aluminum deodorants and things of that nature. And so he would go without and he would get sweaty and real bad. And he built a shower in his office. And we finally decided like we've got to tell him, especially he was working around people all day, very close. We're like, we can't let him walk around like this. And so we developed a code word change up. And it was a doctor. And he would bring extra scrubs and had a shower in his office. And just throughout the day, we'd be like, hey, change up. And he'd be like, okay, thanks. And he would run and change his clothes and everything and go about his day. And so do you want a code word if I'm like, Joe, change up?
So there's been 3 times probably in the last 3 years. And really, I get this special deodorant shipped from whereverville. And it's non-aluminum. And it usually works just fine. But every once in a while, I'll get a stick that I think they mess up in the configuration of what is in that thing. And it does not work. And I don't know it until a couple hours into the day that it's the stick that's bad. And I throw that shit away as soon as I possibly can. So it doesn't happen often enough for me to have a shower built in.
Well, and I have found there really is something you've heard of like stress sweat really is different. I didn't know if that was like a deodorant commercial selling point, but I have found if it's just my everyday whatever, my everyday life, I can try an aluminum free deodorant and I don't feel as good as the full aluminum one, but it's not bad. But if it's a day I'm doing something and I know I am exerting more energy physically or mentally, as in I'm doing something in front of people, I'm going to feel uncomfortable, I'm going to be nervous, I'm going to be sweating, full aluminum deodorant kind of day. Like cannot, because I think I do get worse when it's a stress sweat. It's a different smell than just getting a little warm. Don't you think?
I'm fascinated with smells, and I know that I don't like a lot of them, but I grew up in the pheromones 90s, right? Do you remember the pheromones 90s?
I remember they used to put like pheromones in sprays and perfumes and stuff.
Because
supposedly.
it would take women that were not attracted to you whatsoever, and you squirted this shit on you, and they'd be like, oh, Joe, you're
Does
melon.
it work?
Yeah, I have no idea. And then they said women, when they were ovulating or they whatever, would release a different smell. And then guys would go like blood, like in Finding Nemo when the blood goes across the shark's nose.
Yeah.
Like, Kelin is ovulating.
See, I wonder, because like I used to go, do you remember, I don't even know if women still do it. There used to be things called Spice of Life parties.
Yes.
And you would go with your girlfriends and you'd look at all these intimate products, and they always had smell good body spray, and it said, oh, it's made with pheromones. We put pheromones in this. And I'm like, how is that done? Or is this just something you're saying you do?
Right.
And the whole ovulation makes sense. It's possible, but also as a girl, I know typically when a woman's in her ovulating cycle, she feels better about herself. She carries herself differently. She's like, I am a sexy beast. And I think she's just putting off a different energy.
And I would be interested to do a sniff test when you're ovulating to see if it's any different than any other days. I don't make the habit of smelling you anyway, but I'd like to know that if I get it, it is probably not a recognizable smell. It's more so that a chemical got in my nose that makes me feel differently about sitting in front of you.
Do you think that's it? Or do you think the woman shows up differently? Like, oh, I'm cramping. I feel bloated. My skin's breaking out. I'm tired. I'm cranky. I'm putting off this energy that everything sucks. Ovulation phase hits. Bloating goes down. Feeling myself. My jeans look good. My skin cleared up. I have energy. I'm in the mood, and I show up differently.
Well, when you do that, when you're in that moment, I'm going to scrape your skin of its oils, and I'm going to put it in a pheromone spray.
I don't know. I think I'm too old for this experiment. We need a younger girl for this experiment.
No, we don't want some young girl.
I don't have that cycle anymore.
I think you might. I think it's biological. You might.
Well, maybe. I do think women.
Do you have any foul smells that you really like on yourself?
Foul smells that I like on myself.
On yourself.
I don't think I like them if they're on me. You're talking about like people liking the smell of gasoline or things like that?
Like some people smell their own earwax. Some people take their sweat from their armpits and they'll sniff it. Some people will take more pubic regions of smells.
I will smell myself to see if I smell. I don't think I would smell it because I enjoy the smell. I wouldn't say there's anything I like, but I'd say, I'm going to do a sniff test to make sure I'm not coming off as stinky to anyone.
Okay. I think everybody does, and you're just in denial. I think there's some
I'm admitting I will smell it.
Consciously, you're saying that, but subconsciously, I think there's some Kelin smells that you enjoy. And
I would want to smell like that? No.
Yeah.
I don't want to smell
real primitive smells. This is the grossest show we've ever done.
It is.
It really is.
Let's get really gross. Why? What do you like the smell of?
If I don't shower for maybe like 2 or 3 days, like I hit a Friday and just decide I'm not going to shower for the weekend, by Sunday, I smell amazing. My natural scent after 3 days of non-showering is freaking amazing. I love it.
I would not say mine is amazing.
Oh, I love it.
It smells like oily hair, oily skin. It's not a good smell.
But I know we're so like sanitized, and we use so much product to be able to strip the oils of the skin. When it has a chance to emanate from us, you get what you really smell like, and I really like mine.
Does your wife?
I don't know. I've never asked her.
Because it's funny, my husband every so often would be like, hey, and I'd be like, ew, no, I'm disgusting. I just worked out, or I haven't washed my hair or whatever. And he's like, I don't care. And I was like, I do.
But it might be a thing where you're not, because again, your skin is supposed to have oiliness to it. And you would probably remove all that natural oiliness when that's all your pheromones, all of what you're communicating with the rest of us are coming through your skin. You're depriving. That's why I can never figure you out, because there's no oil on you.
No, I think if I went several days without showering and I was in my natural oils and sweat and everything, I would not like the smell.
Okay.
I would have to shower.
But I want you to try that. Maybe over a couple days where you don't have to be around other people. Don't shower for a couple days. Let those oils bubble through your skin.
Oh, I get really
Take a couple
oily.
of reekiness sniffs and see which parts of you that you like. And Julie says this is creepy.
Oh, this is
Both
creepy.
of us agree with the creepiness that we are talking about right now, but it will not change the motive of talking about it.
I get like
Do you see how uncomfortable Kelin is right now?
my ears, neck, all this region, face, this gets very oily.
Yeah.
This is what would gross me
Natural.
out. My ears. Anything else, I think my skin would be so dry. It could use a few days of like, give us a soap break, please. But everything from like here up, I would have to wash this. I feel like this secretes so much oil.
Even if you did like a week of camping where you really didn't have your normal soaps and showers, or maybe you got rained on or whatever, like I feel that version would be a better version than the everyday sanitization that we do.
Have you ever heard of women being referred to as shapeshifters in a joking way? I am a
I'm not taking the
shapeshifter.
bait.
I am a
not taking this
shapeshifter.
bait.
There's these super funny videos online of these women that do reels and they show themselves no makeup, hair not done, in their natural state. And then they turn around and all of a sudden the hair's blown out and the makeup's on in there. And there's a soundbite that says, if the men find out we can shape shift, they're going to call the church. That's me.
100%.
Oh gosh, it's bad. Like it would be real bad if I did nothing, put nothing on, if I didn't have my blow dryer, my flat iron, my makeup. I'm a totally different person.
Yeah.
You'd be like, oh,
Maybe
God.
your natural Kelin is better than the
I
made-up Kelin.
promise you it's
Maybe it
not.
is.
I promise you it's not. I have been told it's not. I have been told.
But the pheromones that you'd be releasing would attract somebody who is perfectly aligned with you. Maybe it'd be an easier time
Really
to
don't think it.
procreate and
Maybe
find
a blind
mate.
man. Maybe a blind man
No,
would be like,
no.
oh, I like
After
this
the
pheromone.
After a number of weeks, we would all like lower our standards of smell and really get in touch with our primitive state. I can guarantee.
Kind of like the old Batman movie with Michael Keaton and the Joker, and the Joker poisons all the hygiene products and everybody has to just go all
Yes.
natural.
Yeah.
That would be
Carter
bad.
says Aqua Velva. And really this is
Aqua
this is an
Velva.
yeah, green bottle. It always sat on the toilet. It was green. It was like a weird blue green. And you took that sucker off and you post shave. You would take the Aqua Velva and you go like this. And you go just like in Home Alone, right? Almost 95% alcohol and maybe couple pheromones of scent in there, but it was mostly alcohol. And it was the most painful thing that you ever did. And then you'd put on your cologne, the Canoe or the Old Spice.
In addition to Aqua Velva?
Oh, yeah. You'd have to do both. Aqua Velva coupled with whatever your cologne of choice is.
When I smell Old Spice, I think of my dad. Like my dad, when I was a kid in the 90s, I remember going to work, him doing and there's an Old Spice bottle in the bathroom.
Yep.
Is there a smell for you that's like high school or whatever?
Obsession cologne.
Obsession
cologne.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that Calvin Klein?
Dracar and Obsession. Oh,
well, or CK1 was big at one point.
That's after my time. So we would go to what was Dillard's? Kaufman's. We would go to Kaufman's.
Yeah.
You go to the mall to be able to hang around and meet chicks, right?
Yeah.
And so you would go into Kaufman's and they had all the cologne samplings. So we'd go to the Obsession counter and we would load up on cologne. But it was always our favorite. So some would be Polo, some would be Dracar, some would be Obsession. But then our group of 5 or 6 kids that were walking the mall was a mishmash of freshly applied cologne. It had to have been this pig pen type of cloud that followed us around. But it was effective. Girls loved it.
Like I think I've mentioned before, I'll never forgive the Axe body spray representatives that came to YSU one day when I was a YSU student, and all these like Axe ambassadors handed out free samples to all the boys on campus. And some jackass would like go and kill Cully Center and just spray it. And I'm like,
Was that any good?
no,
Axe was not good.
I don't think so. Unless maybe you had like a smidgen on. I don't recall ever liking a guy wearing Axe body spray. Brian says Polo. Polo's still kind of big, isn't it?
Polo's still pretty good.
What's high karate? Joe seems to be a high karate guy.
I don't know. I never had the high karate.
Is
one.
that a cologne?
Is
High
it?
karate.
Oh, I would have digged the high karate.
Oh.
At the time when Ralph Macchio was beating ass against what's his name? Yeah, high karate would have been a good.
I was
good
a
pick.
Love Spell girl. Do you remember Love Spell? You probably did. It was a Victoria's Secret scent. It was a body spray. You could get the lotions. It was purple. And like this was in the day of like, God, my group was all into like country apple, pear glaze, cucumber melon, Love Spell. What are the other ones, ladies? All this.
Okay, when women would
Sex Panther.
dude, you stole my joke. That was
90%
coming up
of
next.
the time it works every
time.
time.
So when women would wear perfume, was it with the sole purpose of attracting the attention of a man?
I would not say the sole purpose, because I think women still had a lot of smell good stuff, knowing they're not going to be around any men. Like we had bubble baths and bath salts and like lotions and things. I think we like the idea of just the smelly stuff, but I do think it was one use for it.
Okay, so share the psychology with me. So you're walking around and you're like, I'm going to pick up a guy today. What I think he wants to smell right now is avocado tulip. Is that something?
Avocado tulip.
Are you doing it because you think that's a smell that the guy is going to like, or it's something that you like to smell like?
I probably think it's both. Me personally.
So you think avocado tulip, those weird
I would
flavors,
not wear avocado tulip.
All right, give me one then.
Love Spell.
Okay, Love Spell. What does it smell like?
It was like a fruity, flowery,
avocados and tulips,
sweet kind of smell.
Okay, so you're thinking a guy that day woke up and he's like, man, I like fruit and flowers today. If there's some girl that would walk by me that would smell exactly like a peach that was mixed up with a carnation, she would have my heart. You think that's the scenario when you were spraying those things on you?
I don't know if that's exactly how I
so
pictured
change
it, but
let's just say I'm going to wear the barbecue chicken perfume today. And a guy was like, I am freaking hungry. Kelin smells exactly like barbecue chicken. I want a piece of that. Wouldn't that be more effective?
Yeah. I mean, there have been things like sometimes you ever go shopping with your spouse or someone and say, you pick out what you like on me and I'll wear it. I personally, when I choose a scent, it's something I feel like represents me. I want something kind of sweet, upbeat, light and airy. I don't want like a warm amber smell that just doesn't feel like me. But I hope the other people like it. If someone's like, oh, I like you, and so I want you to wear this, and I might wear it for them because they like it, but I'll be like, this doesn't feel like me. I still have to like it, I think.
So if I walked by and I smelled like kerosene that a panther had drank and pissed out on my shoes, you would think this is a high octane guy. This is a guy that can light the world
Pungent.
on fire. Totally pungent. You'd be like, oh, that's for me. That's the guy I want.
No, I gotta like the smell.
Yeah. So girls like things that smell floral and fruity. Guys don't really like that. And guys like things that smell like kerosene and gasoline.
So if I wore my husband's men's scents, like if I were single and I wanted to attract a guy, should I buy the things marketed to men, like the whiskey,
Maybe.
charcoal?
Again, great studies. Like,
because then you know what someone's gonna say.
What's that?
You want to be with a dude. If they're like, oh, I'm attracted to that smell. It makes sense. Why would I not smell like something that's marketed to you? Obviously, it's appealing to you. Let me smell like it. But then, are you marketed to men?
Right. So women smell like things that other women would like, and therefore that's why lesbianism have gone off the charts. And
Yeah,
guys are
a weird
smelling like what guys.
concept.
So that's why, gayness has gone off the charts. Like I figure perfume and cologne is what put us on this trajectory of homosexuality. I mean, it's a theory.
Like, have you ever like been in the shower and you're out of soap and you have to use something frou-frou your wife has?
No.
I've had to do that where like, oh my God, I smell like whiskey and cigars because I had to use your soap.
What's he use? I want to use that too. What is it? What's he use?
I don't know what it is. It smells like cigars. And I'm like,
I love your husband.
Oh yeah. And I'm like, so you would be into that.
Yeah.
But you're saying then if I wanted to attract a guy, I would have to then
wear whiskey
put
and
stuff
cigars
like that on me.
You smell like bourbon. Come date me.
Yes. All his stuff is either he has a hand soap that's whiskey and coffee bean or something like that. His body wash is like charcoal something. The one thing was a cigar smelling one.
Yes.
And I'm like, this smells like dude. And I want my little fruity.
But maybe women are just attracted to men who smell like dude, and dudes have smelled less dude-ish lately, and so we got to add some other dude smells to us.
I did know a guy years ago that wore a woman's perfume because he said he liked the smell. And he's like, I think it works for me. And I was like, that's either weird or genius. Because you'd smell that perfume anywhere you were as a girl and you would think of this guy like, oh, that smells like him. And then you're like, why does a perfume smell like him? Or is he like, I'm in the ladies' heads. They're thinking of me.
Okay, let's take it other than smell. So let's just say I went to the women's department and I got this red jacket that was amazing. And a girl came up to you and said, that jacket is amazing. Where did you get that? And how much did you pay? I would not be put in the category of potential mate. I would be put in the category of let's go shopping together.
You would be friend zoned.
Exactly. So that is a bad theory from the girl to guy exchange.
Yeah.
From a guy, like I believe guys will fuck anything. Like I really don't think they need much motivation to do that.
They're like, if I like the way you smell, I'll hold my breath.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you smell like Windex. Let's do it. Want to do it? Let's do it.
Julie says she uses more masculine smelling perfume.
What does it mean to be masculine perfume? Like, give me an example of what one.
I bet you it's like a woodsy musk amber smell. Julie, tell me if that's kind of what because you've got perfumes that are sort of the warm amber musk woodsy vanilla bean, and then you have the like citrus or jasmine or sweeter smells like.
How the hell did we go 30 minutes talking about stinking? Like
Julie says exactly. Nailed it.
Julie says loves baby soft.
Yeah.
Why do babies smell so good? It smells good to women because women are sort of like
oh my ovaries
to make babies. So you like the baby smell because you want to make a lot of babies. That's your goal.
Here's the thing. I like a clean baby smell, but most babies at some point go through a phase where they smell like spit up all the time because they're always spitting up and it gets in their cute little neck rolls.
But
then you're like,
but that smell, that freshly powdered baby makes you want to go have more babies.
Well, I want to cuddle on them. I don't want another one.
No. It makes you want to have more of them because
their baby butts are so cute.
Human species, like that's why it's contagious. Like you meet somebody with a baby and you almost like, let's go have another one of those.
Oh, seeing a man be good with a baby.
Very primitive instinct.
That's when you're like, oh, my ovaries. If you have a man who is being like, not just like they have the baby and they're like, here's a baby, but a man that is like looking natural, looking like they're enjoying themselves, being really good with a baby. You're like, oh, that's like,
always eyeballing for the promiscuous, make a man a husband,
or maybe even a
babies.
Puppy. I can remember when we got our first dog together, shortly after we got married, we had a little puppy golden retriever. And we were living down south. We went to Auburn University for a tailgate. And my husband had a little golden retriever puppy walking around a college campus. And all these girls, I was like, what the hell are you doing? Give me that freaking puppy. Wicked.
Mhm.
Like, what are you, just a chick magnet? Just a chick magnet. You got a puppy or
Well,
a baby.
women like feminized men until it means that they have to act like men. And that's why a lot of men have become more feminine to appeal to women, right? But then the function of a man, right, is minimized.
And I don't think it's actually the opposite. They feel manly in that moment. And it's hard to explain because they're not doing a manly thing, but there's something about that you see: protector, provider, caring man. Like, to me, seeing a man be good with a baby screams full package.
Yes.
They don't seem insecure
But
because insecurity is
the
off-putting.
warning is that men took the cue to be more feminine as appeal to women, and they traded some of their man card in order to be able to do that, to be appealing.
But you
Or
got to
could-
do it with
if you-
confidence.
Exactly. But again, that's where the balance just went in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Where it's like, preserve your masculinity, but have the ability to go in the feminine territory and be good at it, versus just be feminine, talk with a lisp, take all of your mannerisms and make them as feminine, thinking that that's going to be something that appeals more to women.
Yeah. You have to
We
do
ruined
something a little feminine, but with the confidence of a man. And then it's like, ooh, he's confident. He doesn't care.
Right. But if you take the contrast of like a big burly biker dude where you expect him to, take a baby and just like pounce it into the ground, right? But you see him be sweet to something, that contrast between the masculine version and being able to be vulnerable for something, women are like screaming for that. But if you take a perfectly manicured man who's almost got boobs, like really close to getting boobs, like there's no contrast in that.
Yeah.
If they did something even a little bit masculine, that would create the contrast in the other direction.
Yeah, it is the contrast. If you see like a flamboyant man at a baby shower and holding a baby, you look at him like it's any other
almost
woman
a girl.
there. Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's a friend. But a manly man that's secure and maybe their muscles are showing and maybe they're all like, they're looking good. And then they hold a baby. You're like,
That's exactly right. You've cued in on something.
yes,
Totally
the
keyed on.
contrast.
Carter says they say you can't remember pain, but I bet you can remember smells.
I've heard that the scent smell is the strongest inducer of memories, like of all the senses. If you smell something, somebody told me one time, you ever like randomly get a song in your head and you haven't even heard it in years? Why is this song even in my head? It could be you heard something similar, or it could be you smelled something that you smelled when you heard that. Or they say that smell has the strongest memory recall. Like you're trying to remember something. If you're studying, like have a scent around, spray a perfume or cologne. And when you have to go take that test on it, wear that again. So I've heard. I don't know if it actually works.
Have you ever smelled what your house smells like? Because everybody's house has a smell.
Yeah.
And you can't smell it yourself. Other people can smell it.
Yeah.
But if you leave your house for more than 4 days, 3.5 days,
go on
and
vacation,
you come back, you could smell what you smell like. Is your smell good or bad?
My house still smells like wood. It's not that old yet. Honestly, I've not left this house. I've not yet taken a vacation since I've been in this house. So I don't know just yet. I gotta do more research.
Okay.
But usually in the houses I've been in, there was always like a wood smell. I smell the wood. I smell the plaster. Typically.
Yeah, if you have pets, it's really defunct. It's really a bad smell when you come back to it. If you don't have pets, then you get that woodsy, foresty, woody smell.
Yeah. Now, I've always had a dog, so I do get a little nervous about that.
Like dog piss smell.
Well, even just dog smell, just the hair. Like we have a golden retriever and he sheds horrifically. And I had a friend come over last night and I haven't seen her in a while. And anytime I have someone that I'm close with come over, I go, please tell me, please be honest. Does it smell like dog in here? Can you smell dog in here? And they're like, no. And I was like, oh, thank God. And sometimes I'm like, you've got to be lying because it's all over this carpet. So like we make sure his crate is not on soft material. And because when we tried to sell our last house and our other dog, we had a realtor come in and give us
your dog?
No, we had a dog. We
You
were
said
selling.
sold my house and my dog.
When we tried to sell our
Why are you
last
selling your
house
dog?
and we had a dog, the realtor said, okay, when you first walk in, there is a little bit of a dog smell because the crate was on carpeting right by the entryway. And I said, okay, good to know. Because you can't smell that yourself. So now I'm ultra paranoid, like,
You know what the key is?
what?
Like, I don't have a dog, but my favorite, I have a spray bottle that always is on a countertop,
Yeah.
and it is white vinegar. I spray white vinegar on every surface that can withstand white vinegar being sprayed on it. And it's a disinfectant, and after it dissipates from the vinegar smell, it smells amazing.
Well, I was going to say, does everything smell like vinegar?
Well, in the short term, I really have a hunger for fries, like French fries.
Oh,
But the
vinegar
once that
on
goes
French
away,
fries.
it is such a good smell.
Are you sure it goes away,
Yes,
or do
it
you
does.
become nose blind to it?
It goes away, and the after smell from vinegar is my favorite smell. It smells very woodsy. It smells very like foresty. Such a good smell.
Can you put it on carpeting?
I don't spray it on any fabrics whatsoever.
That's what I mean.
When I
Because there's
go away,
dog hair in the living room
I
carpet.
put vinegar in drains to be able to kill the bacteria in drains. I put it on doorknobs. I put it on counters, floors. Like everything gets a vinegar spray to it. It's amazing. It's my favorite smell.
What about, we have this cleaner for soft surfaces that has eucalyptus. Is that a good, like,
You women want everything to smell
I
like
don't like it.
No,
I don't want it to smell
just
like
either
eucalyptus.
gasoline or vinegar. Vinegar's first, gasoline is second.
I want people to come in my house and not smell dog hair. Now, they have told me they do not yet, but I'm sure it's a matter of time.
So would you rather them say, do you have a dog or do you have any crinkle cut fries? Which one would you take bigger offense to?
I mean, I guess if it actually smells like fries,
It
I'll be hungry all the time.
No, the association says I want French fries.
So if I walk
Or
into your
fish and
house, am I
chips.
like, oh,
No,
Canfield
unless
Fair?
I just did it. Like, sometimes I'll come home on like a Saturday and my wife hits the kitchen with the vinegar real quick.
Yeah.
I walk in and I'm like, this freaking house smells amazing.
You want to go to the Canfield Fair?
Not that, but yes.
Does it make you hungry?
No, it doesn't. It just smells so clean.
Clean or French fries?
No, the initial, if I spray it, I
Yeah.
get hungry for French fries because it's vinegar smell and you're like, create that association. Afterwards, I'm like, man, this smells clean.
Like those people that are like, that's the power of pine sol, baby. You're like,
Dude,
ooh,
no
vinegar.
chemicals. No, I'm trying to do
I
no
know.
chemicals.
I'm trying
You're
to
doing
do
eucalyptus. That's a chemical.
No. It's the bottle says it's a natural cleanser.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to also use natural things, but I want them to actually work as well. I want no smell. I don't want like Febreze. Ugh. I'm not trying to mask a smell with another smell. I want all smells gone.
So, but again, either buy some French fries to satisfy that need or buy a koala bear. Like I would much rather do the French fries.
How do you feel? Here's a smell. Speaking of being on us and in the home, I love that my husband is now home in the mornings and he makes me breakfast before work. Awesome. But then I feel like, and you can tell me if I do, I go to work smelling like either bacon grease or a frying pan. Now that sticks in my kitchen. Like if we go for the whole day and we're running errands and we come back, sometimes I smell the pan that breakfast was cooked in.
That is awful. Grease is the worst smell. Like
I smell like a restaurant
worked
kitchen.
in a restaurant,
Yeah.
and you have a uniform or clothes, it is the worst smelling thing
Do
ever.
I smell like that, Joe, when I come in here?
Listen, I will be delicate and sensitive with you, but I think you should breakfast less.
Can you smell it on me?
I can't say one way or the other because I don't want you to have any kind of.
I don't think he didn't fry anything today.
You're good.
It should be good today. Yeah. He
Last
didn't.
Thursday, like it was rough. It was rough. Fry
I
less.
totally believe that. He probably made bacon or
Just-
something.
I'm not saying anything. I'm just gonna say fry less.
I knew it. I knew I smelled like a kitchen.
Dude, I didn't say anything in the moment, and there's a reason for it. It wasn't that bad, right? It go to Yankee Kitchen that smells like Yankee Kitchen. You had the Yankee
It's
Kitchen
not even
perfume.
frying though. It's like eggs, and I still smell it on me.
Right. It wasn't bad. Like, I didn't hate it.
But I don't want to smell like that.
But it's better than tulips and avocado perfume you usually wear.
You'd rather I smell like my
eggs? Yes.
My breakfast than a perfume?
Yes, for sure.
How do I not smell like that?
Okay, so
I have to walk through my house.
You want to be neutral? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
So number one, don't eat breakfast. I think it's an overrated meal to begin with.
Okay, well, that's not happening because I'm starving. I have to have my breakfast.
Okay, so eat some fruit, maybe some
No, that'll spike your blood sugar. That's carbs and sugar. I'm doing protein.
Okay, all right. Let's see. What doesn't see? Eggs are usually pretty easy. Like, you don't create a bunch of smell because there isn't a bunch of grease.
I mean,
what do you cook it in?
I don't know. We use as a pan. I bet you the days I really smell it, there was bacon involved.
Yeah, I bet you bacon is your killer.
I think so.
Just next time, opt for the eggs, and then I'll re-sniff you and see if you're all right.
Or he's been doing steak in like a what do you call it? Cast iron skillet. Oh, that'll smell up the house
cast iron
all day.
Cast iron has its own unique smell.
All day I'll smell like that. And I'm like, come on, I can't smell like this all day. And I do.
Todd said, obsession, the best. And I do not disagree with you.
Calvin Klein.
Had I not like really abused the obsession counter at Kaufman's, I would probably agree with you. One spurt every once in a while is no big deal. But obsession in a cloud of prepubescent teens, not good.
How about, did anybody go on the Curve bandwagon when you were younger?
No
Curve. Oh, that to me just smells like douchebag now. Curve.
And Carter says, like the vinegar in the old Idor Park fries. That's exactly what it brings back.
I love vinegar fries. And now I've got to be careful because vinegar has gluten in it and I'm gluten-free. So I have to find gluten-free vinegar. So anytime I go to the Canville Fair now, I can't use vinegar fries, and I'm devastated. I can't believe I smell like a kitchen every day. And you're just now telling me.
I didn't say every day. I said every once in a while I'll smell some aroma.
Aroma.
But it's not bad aroma. It's just like, oh, she had some good breakfast.
You
I like
swear?
that she's eating healthy.
I am. I'm getting my protein. That's why I said I'm not doing fruit in the morning. I'm not doing a smoothie.
That is why I am not hammering you for any of this, because I know it's all good for you. And in fact,
like, Kelin, you smell like muscles.
When you smell like that,
these muscles.
Thinking, she takes care of herself. She's a great mate. Man, her husband's a lucky guy.
You're like, she smells like she's getting strong and healthy.
That's exactly right.
Exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah. If you'd smell like, Audi or Neiman Marcus or Trader Joe's, I'd be like,
if I smelled like a fast food restaurant, you'd be like,
that too.
I used to work when I was 16. I worked in a Dairy Queen. Stinkiest smell I ever had on my body.
Well, if you were to poll yourself and say, do you think you could ever have a show and talk an hour about smells? I'd say, no, I would never do that to our audience. But yet, here we are.
You're welcome.
An hour into it, talking about smells. All right, we're out of here for today. We'll catch you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this show on Youngstown Studio. This is original Youngstown content. Feel free to share our videos and tell your friends about us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow